The first ick was when we began planning on what food we should get for this date, as it would have been an entire day event. I provided an entire list. I'm talking about grapes, wine, chocolate, you name it. This man suggested and said, oh, the beach I picked is kind of a ghetto one. And since we're gonna have a ghetto beach day, we can purchase bread and cheese with juice. Let's begin. This was not my first date with this individual, but I think worse to say the least. I met this guy through a mutual friend who I worked with, and we began hitting it off. We met up a few times for drinks, and it seemed like everything was going well thus far. So well that we decided we're gonna plan a beach date. We initially planned to go to one beach, but due to his vehicle issues, he picked a beach location which was closer to where he resided. The first ick was when we began planning on what food we should get for this date, as it would have been an entire day event. I provided an entire list. I'm talking about grapes, wine, chocolate, you name it. This man suggested and said, oh, the beach I picked is kind of a ghetto one. And since we're gonna have a ghetto beach day, we can purchase bread and cheese with juice.
Bread and cheese with juice? In other words, that's a poor man's food right there. My boy ain't even trying to spend a cent on this date, eh? Bro, even mice eat better than this, bro. That's a mouse food right there. But even mice, man, they eat luxurious food than this.
Like, what do you mean bread and cheese? Honestly, this bread and cheese bothered me more than the ghetto beach part. I told him I'm not cool with that and he should take into account my suggestions. He then stated that he was simply only joking and knew that I became offended by my replies, which I was, by the way. The day then came and I proceeded to call out because I had work. We live in the Caribbean, so I took public transportation to get to our meeting point. I waited for nearly 30 minutes. He picked me up and while driving, he tried guiltily explaining the reason his vehicle kept vibrating as it did. Vibrating? We already discussed this. I wasn't trying to speak further on it as I could have felt it. I mean, it was really shaky. But at the same time, I tried not to be judgmental or make him uncomfortable. Oh, you could judge that. Why are you in a shaky vehicle? You're allowed to judge this part for your own safety. We stopped at the supermarket to grab the items on my list. I noticed that everything I confirmed we would need and tried to grab it, he would say, nah, we don't need that.
I mean, I wonder why. Clearly, my guy ain't got no money for this, bro. Like, yo, he's in a shaky little vehicle. You think he can afford these groceries? Yeah, do you think so? My guy is already suggested bread and cheese. You think he can afford all these extra stuff? My guy is barely making it through, man. You can already tell he ain't got no coins in his pockets. That's that.
If I had 20 items on that list, the basket only had about 8. We get to the cashier and I start unloading the items for checkout. He whispers, I forgot to go to the bank. I only have $42.
You know what? Even if he went on the bank, it ain't gonna make a difference because he ain't got no money in that bank. He's poor. That's what it is. Like, I mean, take the hints. Bread and cheese, shaky little car, and now he's telling you got $40. Like, come on. It's already adding itself up.
$42? You shouldn't be outside. Everything came to about $130 in total. At that point, I just handed him the money for the groceries and we made our way out. Why? It should be done. Why are you on a date with a man who only has $42 to his name? This needs to be finished right here. Put all the groceries back, hop back on public transit, and get your ass home. Where are you going with a man with $42 to his name? He can't even protect you. If you get stuck anywhere, you're on your own. I just handed the money for the groceries and we made our way out. We were almost at the beach by this time and I bought a new pair of Crocs. So while he was driving, I was going to put in my Jit Bits and he's like, I don't think you'll need your shoes looking all fancy with those. Fancy Crocs? Fancy. I don't think you'll need your shoes looking all fancy with those because it's a hike. He told me there was a trail, but I didn't think it was that long of a walk. Nevertheless, I sighed and placed them into my bag and just kept my plain Crocs on. We arrived at the beach and started gathering our stuff. As I'm about to get out the vehicle, I asked, because I hadn't noticed it in the vehicle, hey, did you bring the towels? He said, no, actually I forgot. How do you mean you forgot? What are we supposed to sit on? His home was like 10 to 15 minutes away from the beach, so I suggested that we can go back to his house and get one. But I was dismissed by, oh well, we'll be fine. So I suggested that we go back to his house and we get one. But I was dismissed by, oh, we'll be fine. Before we started walking towards this hike trail, he leaped like he remembered something so important and he said, oh, I gotta disconnect my battery before it cuts off?
Hey, nah, don't tell me, bro. Come on, my guy, bro. You know what? You're in no position to actually be on a date at this point. You're already trying to eat bread and cheese like a mouse. You're already out here in a little shaky car, bro. You got $40 in your pocket. Can't even afford the whole grocery. And now you gotta disconnect the battery from the... My guy, you're going through a lot right now. And I think the date is the least of your worries. You shouldn't even be on this date to begin with. You're holding on by a thread. Let me just tell you that.
I need to save this power. My alarm is gonna use it all up. Nah. Why do you own a vehicle that could die just by the use of the car alarm? With $42 to your name? Nah, alright, let's just keep reading this, cause what? He said, oh, I gotta disconnect my battery before it cuts off. I need to save this power because my alarm is gonna use it all up. I paused and asked, so your car can cut off at any time? He replied so unconcerned by saying, yup, and let's hope it doesn't on our way back. At this point, my expectations were super low. This point, and they were about to become lower. This so-called hike went on for about 5 to 10 minutes, a trail filled with litter. He turned back and was like, are you taking in the scenery? If by scenery he meant food wrappers and used condoms, then yes, the fuck I did. After what seemed like forever.
Yo, don't kill me, bro. Yo, so my man, first of all, let me just recap here. Dude is riding in this little bumpy ass car after already suggesting they're gonna be eating bread and cheese, guys. Bread and cheese. We don't even know even if that cheese was heated up, if this bread is even warm. Maybe it's cold ass bread. Literally like a mouse's favorite food right here, bro. And then he only got $40 in his pocket. He barely could afford groceries. She actually had to pay for it. And now he's struggling with his little car because he has to disconnect the battery because it's gonna die. And now he asks, are you enjoying the scenery? You know, we thought the scenery was gonna make up for it because, yo, this day has been shit so far. But there's like food wrappers and condoms. Damn.
We arrived. He turned and smiled, saying, I find here so beautiful, but you don't look impressed. I replied, I'm not. A rocky sanded beach filled with litter and rocks and barely enough shade. We stayed at the beach for a while. The conversations were actually meaningful. However, I became weary. I sat on my shoes. This should be done. I sat on my shoes and given no towels. I was just ready to head the fuck home. The hike on the way back was even worse than the way there. We get to the vehicle and he went to connect his battery. I prayed so much that the vehicle didn't cut off. He dropped me to my destination and we parted ways. I then get a text the next day saying that he enjoyed the date, but someone told his girlfriend that they saw us together.
Wait. So he had a girlfriend all along? You're kidding. Wow, I'm shocked. This guy is so ballsy. The guy with only $40 in his bank account and a little rocky car with bread and cheese and at a hike where it's filled with food wrappers and condoms. Turns out he has a girlfriend. Yeah.
This was my last straw. This? How are you this far in? Girlfriend saw? I hope they saw me paying that grocery bill and him connecting that battery too. I'm like, you know what? It's time I get the fuck out of here, and so I did. At present, we don't really speak often. We just keep things rather cordial. Why do you still speak at all? This is pissing me off. Let's just scroll back to the top real quick because what is going on? So you and this guy decide to go on a beach date. Cool, no problem. The first initial beach you can't go to because he has car issues, so he says, go to a closer one near me. You're like, all right, cool. You take public transportation to him. He picks you up half an hour late. You then go to the supermarket to pick up some food for the date, and he basically rejects everything you want on your list. You finally get to the cash register, and everything he has costs $130. And he whispers to you, I forgot to go to the bank. I only have $42. Forgot to go to the bank? Do you not have a bank card? $42? That's crackhead money. 42? Why 2? So instead of you turning around at this point and saying, you know what? He can't afford this date, we should probably do something else, or you know what, just cancel the date. You actually pay for it and you continue with this date. Okay. You're now driving to the beach in his vehicle that vibrates. And right before you get on the trail, he says, oh, I just remembered. I gotta go disconnect my car battery before my car cuts off because the alarm will use all the power. You end up finishing the trail and you get to the location, and because you have no towels, you're sitting on your shoes. You wrap up the day, you get back to his car, and he has to reconnect his battery before you leave. Are you not taking in what's going on here? I'm just picturing you standing there watching this man reconnect a battery to his vehicle just for it to start. You felt safe in that? And just to wrap up this whole day in a bow, he was doing all this to you while having a girlfriend. You need to take a break. Just take a break. Reevaluate your standards and just raise the bar a little bit higher than $42 in a dead car battery.
Oh, I mean, I don't even know what to say, man. I'm lost for words. Like, damn, I'm usually on my man's side. Like, I want to say at least he put in effort, right? I want to say at least he showed up for the date. At least he went through with that. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, I want to give him some credit here. But, my guy, there were so many things wrong with his day. I don't even know where to begin. Girl just wants to, you know, have a little romantic picnic. type of date at a beach, you know, with some fruits and some juice. And first of all, you don't even got the money for a few grapes and strawberries and, you know, juices and all that. Second of all, you're riding in a Humpty Dumpty car, bro. This car is shaking, bro. I mean, I can only imagine. This girl is probably vibrating on that car. Maybe her head is hitting the roof of that car. She's jumping up and down, because definitely that car needs to be at a mechanic, bro. You know what I mean? But I'm sure even the mechanic is going to refuse to fix his car. That's how bad it is, right? But disregard that. He offered her bread and cheese. Of all food, bro. Bread and cheese is all you could come up with. The basic of the basic, bro. Even rats nowadays, mice, you name it, bro, they eat better than this. You know, if you even tell a mouse, yo, I got bread and cheese for you, he's gonna laugh at you. He's gonna be like, bro, really? I can get myself some steak. I can get myself some filet mignon. I can get myself some caviar. You're gonna offer me bread and cheese, really? Even mice, bro, nowadays, they're eating better than that. And let's not even forget the fact that bro only had $40, right? He supposedly forgot his card. He only has $40, traveling with $40. Damn. I mean, fair enough. They're like, where are they again? I think they said they were in the island, somewhere in the island. So I mean, $40, yeah. I don't know how far that goes, but $40 don't seem like a lot, because yo, groceries were like over $100. And then you take her to this little hike and you ask her, you enjoying that scenery? Bro, first of all, that date's been a disaster. You know, that date's been nothing but a challenge, climbing hurdles over hurdles. And now you're asking her if she's enjoying the date. There's not even any scenes, bro. At least after going through all of this, if there was a beautiful scenery, a nice sunset, you can hear the water hitting the rocks, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's peaceful. It's that evening sunset type of time, bro. At least she can be like, wow, all of that was worth it. Bro, all around her, she's seeing rocks and dead trees and condom wrappers and food wrappers and all that. Like, there is nothing to see. And just when you thought that was the nail of the coffin, no, it wasn't. Because guess what it is? It's the fact that this guy had the audacity to even tell her that, yo, somebody saw us together and sent it to my girlfriend. So he had a girlfriend all along. Hey, yo, he had the audacity to even say that. It's like, you know what? I'm actually shocked at the fact that he has a girlfriend, considering his whole life. Like, his whole life is a mess. I don't think he needs a girlfriend at this point, but I'm actually shocked. I want to know what kind of girl is with him at the moment. And guess what? He's cheating on this girl who was able to put up with him with this type of lifestyle he's living, with this Humpty Dumpty car, with that $40 in the bank account, with the bread and cheese for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He's still cheating on this woman, bro, that stood by him, by his side. He still has the audacity to take another girl out like that. Bro, that don't say well with me, bro. Your woman is out here putting up with your BS and you're out here trying to cheat on her? Yo, I'm done. Anyways, guys, that's a video. Leave your comments down below. Let me know about this whole story. What you all think? Because, yo, I can't comprehend. Like, bread and cheese? Come on. That's disrespect. And, yo, this girl, I don't know what she's thinking, bro. Her mind gotta be so slow, bro. If someone's offering you bread and cheese, yo, you gotta know. You're wasting your time. You gotta know what time it is, bro. You gotta know. You gotta go. You gotta leave. That bread and cheese ain't even got lettuce. Ain't even got, you know, some chicken or anything. It ain't even a full sandwich, bro. So in other words, it's like not even a grilled cheese. We can't even call it grilled cheese because it's not grilled. Cold ass bread and a slice of cheese. Damn. Anyways, yeah, let me know what you all thought about this, and I'm gonna catch you guys on the next video. All right, peace.